Hello again, and welcome to week 6, day 2, the reading for Wednesday from the tradition of the church. On Monday, we read about the first sin, so today we will read what one of the earliest church fathers, a saint named Irenaeus, thought was important about that story. Saint Irenaeus lived from about AD 130 until the year 200 or so, which means he was born between 50 and 60 years after the apostles died, or about 100 years after Jesus ascended into heaven. Irenaeus, in this little passage, he's comparing and contrasting Eve, who was the first human being to sin, with the Virgin Mary, who made a different choice. So this is what Irenaeus has to say. As Eve was seduced, was tempted by the word of a fallen angel to flee from God, and so rebelled against the word of God, so Mary, also by the word of an angel, but not a fallen angel, received the glad tidings that she would bear God by obeying the word of God. The former, Eve, was seduced to disobey God, and so she fell. But the latter, Mary, was persuaded to obey God. In this way, the Virgin Mary became the advocate and defender of the Virgin Eve. As the human race was subjected to death through the act of a virgin, that's Eve, so it was saved by a virgin, that's Mary. And thus the disobedience of one virgin was precisely balanced by the obedience of another. Now, St. Irenaeus is making an important point about how the first woman's mistake was made right by the correct decision of her descendant, Mary. What was broken when Eve sinned was made right when the Virgin Mary agreed to become the Mother of God, as we discussed in week 4. Now, we posted on the website a beautiful picture made just recently that depicts what St. Irenaeus is talking about. It shows the Virgin Mary consoling Eve. But this idea is something that we see again and again in the hymns of the church, in the prayers of the church, in the theology and the writings of the fathers. There is the strong sense in the Old Testament that womankind, the female sex in general, is subordinate, is condemned, is unclean, and all of that goes back to the sin of the first mother Eve and the curse that comes upon women, which we'll read next week on day 1. There's actually a lot of argument about this over the last 20 centuries, but the Orthodox Church's perspective is very clear that this curse on womankind ends with the Virgin Mary, because what Eve does wrong, the Virgin Mary does right. And we see indeed the Virgin Mary as the fulfillment of a hope that begins to be hoped from this moment when Eve falls into sin. So there's a reason then that in the Christian church, it is a blessed thing for a woman to not marry, to not have children, to commit herself to prayer and to service of God, where in the covenant before Christ comes, womankind, if a woman is unable to have children, if she's barren, this is considered to be a curse. It's considered to be a shame to her. And yet we don't have this sense any longer in the Christian tradition. It is a good thing for a woman to serve God, and there is no uncleanness, there is no inequality that remains, because the Virgin Mary has functioned as the second Eve, the one who made the right choice, and we sort of have a reset button pushed in the life of the church, in the life of humanity from that point. All of this, of course, connects not just to the virtue of the Virgin Mary, but the action and the work and the salvation that comes to all of humankind through her Son, Jesus Christ. This is why it has this effect, her good choice. It's not just a legalistic, okay, the first woman made a mistake, and then eventually there was a woman who didn't make a mistake, and hey, that was all it took. No, it is the entrance of God himself into the creation through the obedience of the Virgin Mary. Christ's coming is what heals our fallen and broken nature, both the fallen and broken nature of men and of women, and restores us to what we are called and created to be. So this is an idea that you'll see throughout the worship and the theology of the church. Pay attention, you'll see it all over the place. For now, God bless you all. We'll see you on Friday when we'll talk about temptation when the Lord goes out into the desert after he's baptized.